Well, good morning, it's Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning, and it's chilly, but it's going to be even cooler tonight. About -6 it's going down to. So we are going to get the hell and gone. We're going down to Idaho Falls and then into Wyoming. But I'm just going to turn you around to show you what I woke up this morning. What an unbelievably spectacular view of these mountains. Like I say, the video just doesn't capture the full extent of this vista. When you see it in real life, absolutely unbelievable. And like I say, now you know why they call it Big Sky, Montana. Look at that, isn't that amazing? I have been keeping updates, by the way, on the Ostrich farm, and a couple of interesting developments going on there. Firstly, it seems that the CFIA issued the cull order themselves. There was no other body involved, there was no politician involved, there was no oversight involved, and the CFIA also issued a reprieve saying that the ostriches were a too important genetic interest to be culled, and then 7 days later they rescinded that. Absolutely unbelievable. This is an agency out of control, ladies and gentlemen, and you know, it is just staggering. It is staggering that nobody's talking about this. None of the media is talking about this. Where is our press? Where are our politicians? You know, all of these guys, all of these politicians that we have, they stood up and applauded Yaroslav Honka, the famed Nazi war criminal. Every single member of our parliament in Canada stood up and applauded this guy, gave him a standing ovation. Whilst at the same time, all of these goddamn parasites on our Canadian dollar sat on their hands and did nothing during COVID as they watched all of their people in their ridings suffer, their businesses collapse. It's unbelievable, the sheer negligence. I mean, it's willful. At this point, it is willful. These people are being paid to sit on their hands and shut up unless it's a goddamn war criminal, Nazi war criminal. Then you stand up and applaud. Where's your history? Didn't you learn history, Jamie Schmaley? Yes, you're our conservative politician in Halliburton Brock. Didn't you do any history at school? Or did you sat on your hands at school too with your... You know, I get so angry when I think of the things that we will accept. And Canadians, please, excuse me for being so bold, but stand up! Stand up against this, for Christ's sake! Your freedoms are slipping away, and I am so much more reminded of this now that I'm in the United States of America and I'm seeing protests, I'm seeing people. Even if you don't agree with what they say, at least they've got the balls. At least they got the balls to stand up and talk about it. What are you, Canadians? Come on, man, get it together. So there you go. That's my little rant for the day. I'm going to make a coffee, maybe that'll calm me down. It's a bit windy up here, but this is the Palisades Dam, and it's just made of rocks piled up. How interesting is that? I'm still in Idaho and heading towards the Wyoming state line to continue the journey. Some of the scenes around here are just absolutely wonderful. Now, judging by the exposed sand, they've had a very dry year here too. That looks like it's way down. And you know, putting these hydro lines in is, you can imagine, quite a challenging job. Yeah, you can see the debris line along the shore here of the wood that is washed up. Yeah, it's been dry everywhere in North America, it seems. Canada's the same this year, very, very dry. 3 months. 3 months without any serious rain. Absolutely beautiful. Idyllic. Wouldn't you just love to live here? Okay, so here we are, we're in Idaho, and you see just about all of those windmills are turning, unlike Ontario. I suspect that's because this is a private enterprise. But you can see the rich farmland. We're now in the foothills, busy road. But yeah, coming down out of the mountains there, the land was very scrubby, but now that we're on the lowlands, it's looking quite fertile. Yeah, up by the mountains, you barely even be able to graze cattle. Okay, so the only way to be able to get any kind of voice on this is to stand right in front of the bus, out of the wind. And the wind is absolutely scary. Luckily, it's a following wind, as you can see by the blades on these wind turbines here. But I'm just going to step out into the wind so you can see the extent of the investment here. Absolutely as far as the eye can see, and what a difference in landscape. Wow, we're really off the beaten track, and I'm kind of a little nervous because I still don't have my SIM card, so I have no phone, and this road is quiet. It's not completely dead, but it is quiet, so I'm hoping for no problems. Anyway, this is Wyoming, by the way, and we're getting ready to cross over into Colorado. It's about another, 50, 60 miles or so, I think, to the state line. And yes, we'll be into another state. Okay, so this is a lot of what small-town America looks like. You can see over there the Kit Carson Trading Post restaurant, closed down and abandoned. Some cars over there. Ever-present trailer parks. And this is why it's called Drive-Through America. Constant transport traffic. But nothing wants to stop here. So there's no income. And it's just the people who have solid jobs, if you can call them that, and flat. We're in Colorado. I thought there was more mountainous areas in Colorado, but I guess not. We're heading towards Denver. But this is why I haven't done an awful lot of road work, because a lot of America looks like this. Huge, vast plains stretching out, the odd farm here and there, and small rural towns. There's nobody on the street, nobody around to interview. So there you go. Kit Carson Trading Post. So this is Lamar, and as you can see, this is a fairly bustling town in Colorado, Frontier Bank. and it's about 16,000 people, so it seems like you'd need to have a town of about that kind of population base to be somewhat self-sustaining and to have all of the services required to have a viable town. But there's lots of through traffic, lots of UPS, lots of FedEx trucks going through, very busy in that respect. So here we are, first casualty of the trip. We're still in Lamar, and luckily this all happened about 100 yards from the Ace tire. So a bit of an expense there, but at least it could have been a lot worse. I could have been in Wyoming on one of those deserted stretches. But I noticed as we're looking around that I'm going to have to get into a welding shop as well, because these two sway bars under here have actually broken right off and need to be reattached. Not a huge job, but it has to be done before I go too much further. But yes, very, very lucky indeed. Very lucky indeed. No idea what this is going to cost, but as I say, repairs on the road are usually expensive. I need a new rim and a new tire. And there is the old rim. All shot to hell. Okay, so here we are in Springfield, and you know what? I just found myself a little welding shop. So let's take a look. As luck would have it, right on the side of the road, easy to get into. And there you go. My little baby's going to get welded up. You're going to feel a lot safer with that, I can tell you. But a lot of these small welding shops disappearing. There's the old mill there on the rail line. Anyway, he said about an hour's labor, 75 bucks an hour. That's cheap at the price, man. I'm so glad. And here's this little welding shop. We're on 287, 385 South. So there's a couple of gas stations and a couple of banks. Railroad runs right through. So yeah, this is small town America. This is still southern Colorado. We will be crossing the border very, very shortly into Oklahoma. I thought we were going through Kansas, but it doesn't look like that way. But yeah, you can see there's lots of car traffic, but there's not many people walking around. Not many people walking around, and it's a lot like that in these towns in America. And of course, look at that cell tower. Holy jumpins! I wonder what that's putting out. Of course, I mean, you know, I've just been finding out how lost you are without your cell phone. I had the SIM card didn't work, so I had 3 days. I can't believe how dangerous that was. 3 days going miles and miles and miles and miles without a telephone, only internet, and anything could have happened. And look what happened with the tire blowout. And like I say, it was just lucky I wasn't on one of those bleak stretches of highway with hardly any traffic, and that which was there was fast moving. Well, good morning, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning from very southern Colorado. We're about 70 miles, 80 miles away from the Texas border, so we should be crossing that today, and I'll be getting rid of this sweater very, very shortly. But I'm just going to turn you around to show you what I'm looking at right here. This thing, rock structures. I'm not quite sure how they were made, but you can see that they are layered between the cracks, and because of the carving into them, I would say that this is limestone. So I'm not sure whether this is built up by being under the ocean. You know, a lot of these things, when I look around, look very much like they were created by the ocean, whether this was like a stalagmite formation or worn away by the the sea and the sand, or whether it was molten at one time and pushed up in these big globs. Who knows? But it is certainly interesting stuff. So this is a truck stop, or a rest area as they call them. Now this is the first one in 500 miles that I have seen they're very far and few between down in this part of the world. So I was pleased to find this after blowing out a tire on my trailer yesterday. Fortunately, I was just 500 yards away from the area where just had to sort out the dog there and the leash. Yeah, about 500 yards away from the tire place, which was very lucky. But I'll show you in a minute what happened when that tire blew. I had to get a new tire and a new rim. $223 roughly. But along these flat areas, these open areas, unbelievable how many wind turbines there are. Literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And this is the road I'm going to be pulling out on very shortly. But as I said before in my other videos, you can see how bleak this is. And I am so glad that I was close to where the tire place was. Some of those highways coming out of Wyoming down just into Colorado, unbelievable, desolate, mile after mile after mile after mile of just nothingness. Anyway, considering I've just about put 7,000 kilometers on the old bus there, I am actually pretty pleased that that's all the problems that I've had so far. And I'm just going to walk you down here to show you what the problem is with the trailer, and my buddy Scott can give us an analysis of that. But I was speaking to him on the phone last night, and we agreed that I need to get to a welder sooner rather than later, and to get that welded up. Those braces are incredibly important. And of course, as you can see, it's very noisy in a truck stop. There you go, a Prime. That's Amazon Prime deliveries. Lots of UPS, lots of FedEx going down this road. So there you go, that's the offending tyre, that's the one that got changed. And those are the two crossbars. I don't know whether you can quite see, but when that tyre burst, it snapped those two welds. And but so far everything's okay. I've managed to strap it up so it isn't too dangerous. And I think she'll hold till we get down to the welding shop. And here's a little hi from Jazz. She's getting bored in the road. She hasn't been off the leash. I daren't let her off the leash because of the traffic around here. Unbelievable. Okay, well, so this is me, Houndog Steve, signing off. Oh, and that's what I do with my Starlink, how I attach it to the vehicle. But yeah, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant day. And I should be uploading now that I've got all my phone sorted out, got my SIM card, everything's running well. Hopefully this will upload straight from the phone. Got a new phone number, all that kind of jazz. But yeah, I shall be very shortly on my way. And well, good afternoon, this is Houndog Steve, wishing you a very pleasant afternoon. And here we are, just above the town of Post. This is a little picnic area, and I've been actually trying to get myself into an RV park so I can take on some water on board and that kind of stuff, but you know, everything is fully booked. So I stayed here today just to do some phoning around to see what's going on, see if I can find something. No such luck, because I'm a little early to go into the campsite in Port Isabel. But let me just turn you around so you can see what I'm looking at here. So there you go, that is the little town of Post down there. And you can see these are the thunderclouds that came rolling through. We had actually a fairly sizable rainfall, thunder and lightning, all that kind of good stuff, which was a bit of a treat to see. And the only downside is that I don't know why they put these in these parking areas, picnic areas, these honking great antennas, and you know, they're everywhere across this landscape, unescapable. And I guess that's the price you pay for wireless communication. But yes, this is the placard here, and it says CW Post rain battles, site of 1911 to 1914 dynamiting to produce rain, carried on by CW Post, Texas farm colonizer and cereal foods millionaire. After reading that rain often accompanies cannonading in war, Post planned battles to relieve droughts. He thought vertical air currents would condense vapor in the atmosphere and cause rain. He first used dynamite airborne by kites, but soon replaced this dangerous method by setting off explosions on edge of Caprock. Post's experiments were said to have been 40% effective and cost $50,000. He battled a drought on farms until his death in 1914. So there you go. And we talk about the trailing in the sky. Well, it's been going on for an awful long time. But yes, very different landscape here. You can see the desert. These little knolls here, we're on a bit of a high spot, but you can see like the landscape is just absolutely endless and flat right across the horizon. There's just these little rises here and there, but yeah, this is it. Anyway, the temperature's gone up, and I'm looking forward to driving down to the rest of Texas. I think I mentioned before that I tried to do some interviews, but people are very reluctant these days to be caught on camera, just in case, you know, it's a gotcha video or something like that. And I can understand completely how they feel. Disappointing, because I did want to do some, now they'll talk, and I did talk to people on the way down, but they just did not want to talk on camera. So it was kind of like yeah, a person-to-person type discussion taking place. So anyways, I will relay some of those stories in other videos because they were kind of interesting. I have been noticing on the way down that there are a lot of drug counseling, alcohol counseling, mental health signs, advertising, you know, to get some help, looking out for fake dangerous drugs. And you know, we know that the whole meth thing has been going on right across Canada, and the US has been ravaging lots and lots of young people, especially in these small rural towns where there's really not a lot to do. And so I think a lot of this is boredom, abuse. Nevertheless, it's still an addiction, and it's still, you know, it really puts you out of circulation. So I can see why they're concerned. Well, I think we should be more concerned in Canada too about the trafficking coming across the border. But yeah, you can see it's raining cats and dogs down there. But other than that, it's my birthday today. Thank you very much. 72 years old and loving it. There really isn't an awful lot to talk about. The other than the fact we may be seeing a spring election in Canada. Trump has cut off all negotiations with Mark Carney over a video that Doug Ford posted, and basically saying that Reagan was against terrorists and so on and so forth. Anyway, the door has been slammed shut, and Mark Carney might find himself in some difficulty. He's got a difficult budget coming up, which is not likely to be accepted by the Conservatives or the NDP or the Bloc Québécois. And so yes, we could see a vote of no confidence in November, and that would mean a spring election. So that would be really interesting. I've seen several different polls where the Conservatives would win a slight majority. The NDP would be the big losers, down to 3 seats, and the Greens up 1, but and the Bloc up to an even stronger position in the government. So yes, we will wait and see with bated breath. And of course, as I say, I'm going to be keeping you updated with the Ostrich farm with Katie Pasitny. I follow that daily, and try and stay in contact as much as possible through the people who are very generously, donating their time to be there and uploading some great live stream videos from the side of the mountain, trying to do a count of the birds, to even following the garbage bins, these blue bins, these huge bins. These people, the RCMP, who are now actually seem to be subordinating themselves and working for the CFIA, they are filling up like 2 of these huge garbage bins a day. And where is all that garbage coming from? They're so secretive, they won't let people know what's in the garbage. They should be inspected by the farm owners at the very least. But the very fact that they're being so secretive means that it just raises eyebrows and suspicions about what is truly taking place on that farm behind those bales of straw. Okay, so that's me going to be signing off, and thank you all for those who donated on the Give Send Go fund campaign. As you know, I've got my trailer's all fixed up now, and a new tire put on. Luckily, it only cost, I think, about $325 at the end of the day, and that was a cheap repair. It could, when I was going across the plains of Wyoming, oh my God, it was so absolutely desolate. Mile after mile after mile after mile of just nothing but scrub land and open plains. And if you ever broke down there, oh my God. And I had no phone. I only just got my SIM card changed yesterday in Colorado. So yeah, I had no phone, no communication other than, a Starlink. But, who are you going to email the police or whatever for a situation? A tow truck? Who knows? Anyway, we've been lucky so far. Everything's working well. And next couple of days should see me further down south. Well, you can definitely tell we're in oil country, because as you do a 360, you can see pumps just about everywhere. So you're in a field there, oil and cattle. These things just pump away day in and day out. Farmers' fields. So cattle, beef cattle on the range, and oil is the heart of certainly northern Texas. Yeah, don't know who invented these things. I believe they're called iron horses. I wonder how much hydro it costs to keep that thing running. Anyway, welcome to Texas. Okay, so I just had to stop and show you this. It's an interesting way of fence building, and you can see these are all really just small branches, and there's a metal pipe here to hold that corner secure, but essentially this is just giving it support. And all the fences are like this, miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. But as you can see from the landscape, there really isn't a lot of trees. So it's very different from the northern states. Vast. So anyway, the people who came here and settled and put these fences up, they had to use the supplies at hand, and that happened to be these branches off the scrubby little trees around. Also, you can see why they have a lot of problems here with the runoff. I know my landlord told me that if you get a heavy rain here, this all just turns to mud. It's slippery as all get out, and just so you can get flash flooding very, 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 very quickly. So yeah, you get a few thunderstorms come through, and all of a sudden, and that's why you see on the roads, I believe, is the high camber. Everything here is they don't put speed bumps in, they put speed ditches in, and this is to run off all of the water. So I don't want to get too... Jasmine, come. I don't want to get too close to the road. But I don't know if you can see from this angle that the camber on the edges there is pretty steep. Certainly an interesting landscape, and I'm actually kind of liking it. I like the dryness in the air, although there are evidence of trailing, unfortunately. That seems to be a worldwide phenomena that's burst to the fore, and I think people are starting, even the mainstream media is starting to report on the weather modification that is taking place in the skies above our heads, although they still won't tell you what's actually in those trails. And this is the historic plaque that goes along with it. This is Old Kent County Jail, built 1894 of red sandstone and quarried nearby. Horses and cattle thieves, murderers, moonshiners, most common prisoners. One of the most difficult West Texas jails from which to escape. No attempted break successful. Recorded Texas Historic Landmark, 1965. So let's take a little look around. Yeah, lots of things scratched into the rock here. The all too common graffiti. Well, you can see it must have been pretty grim, and you can see why it was so difficult to escape from. Solid rock. Yeah, everything jammed shut, frozen shut with rust. Age. What a place. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't want to be locked in here for too long. Not a very pleasant experience at all. Oh, and there's the ever famous Kilroy. Kilroy was here. Anyway, it certainly stood the test of time. Certainly stood the test of time. Another interesting abandoned building made out of the same red sandstone. Not quite sure what this might have been. Council chambers, court office. And of course, the other interesting thing about living in a dry climate is vehicles last an awful long time. Yes, there's some surface rust, but I'm sure that could be restored. So Same with a couple of cars and trucks across the road in a long closed down garage. Now there's some different local fauna for you. I found everything so far here has either thorns or spikes or has a hard outer surface to protect it from the weather, the environment, the incredible harshness of the sun in summertime. Now of course you have to remember that this is fall as well down here, so everything has basically come to the end of its season cycle, and so I'm sure it looks a lot nicer in the springtime, and I may just get to see that before I leave in March of next year. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, because it's one of the things that sort of struck me as I have driven across Canada and the US now. We're closing in on 7,500 kilometers, but everywhere you go there is infrastructure like this, and I mean this is really almost in the middle of nowhere here, and it is absolutely everywhere, whether it is these huge lines stringing out between towns and cities, or whether it is going down the side of the roads, and it goes in absolutely every single direction. And when you start thinking about that, you start thinking about, well, where did all that metal come from? How did that all came out of the ground? It was all refined, formed into these girders and wires, and yeah, brought out of here on site. Brought out here on site to build these pylons by trucks that were also made of metal that came out of the ground, was refined and formed and pressed into engines and panels, and this is everywhere. This is just one line of hundreds of thousands of miles of infrastructure. The roads to carry all of this stuff backwards and forwards. I mean, it is absolutely staggering, and you don't tend to realize it when you live locally, and you sort of go backwards and forwards between short distances. But when you travel a long way, oh my God, it is just staggering. And some of these environmentalists should really come and take a look at this, come and take this trip and realize what the logistics are of what they're talking about. All of this here would have to be upgraded for us to have electric cars and have it supply enough energy to charge all of those cars. And what about all that equipment in mining? I know they do have some electric stuff under there, but I'll tell you, you're not going to have electric trucks crisscrossing this country. Not a chance. This country is going to run on fuel oil, diesel and gasoline for decades to come. It's a pipe dream, folks. It's a pipe dream.